Hey everyone! My name is Kyle Marion and I am a sci-commer and science comedian based in New York City. I am super excited to take part in the Global Science Show today, and I'm sharing a fun quirk of human evolution that you can test with friends and family. Or at least one that doesn't require you to open up anybody's body. I feel like we're not there yet as a society, so let's keep it that way. Alright, science question of the day. Do you have a Palmaris longus muscle? You might have heard this one before, but I love talking about it because anyone can test it out on anybody, anytime. And we can keep #social distancing while we do it. It's a fun quirk of what happened when we humans and our ancestors learned how to walk on 2 feet. So, want to give it a try? Alright, so step 1, lay your forearm and hand flat so your palm faces up towards you. Step 2, touch your thumb and pinky fingers and raise and lower your wrist. Okay, it might be a little bit tricky, but sometimes, yep, there we go. Cool. If you're seeing that little thing pop up on your wrist, then you're not alone. Turns out about 10 to 15 people worldwide also don't have a Palmaris longus muscle on their arms. According to anatomy research, it might be worth double checking if both of your hands actually have it. Because turns out it's totally normal if you have it on both arms like I do. If you only have it on one arm and not the other, if you don't have it at all, and then there's all these other variations to the human body because we don't need it that much. Fun fact, if you are a person who has the Palmaris longus on one arm, you're more likely to have that on your right hand instead of your left. More people don't have it on their left, and that's maybe because of handedness, meaning there are more righties in the world than there are lefties. That's a possibility. It could also just be an unstudied quirk of genetics. We're really not sure yet. So how does this quirky part of our human anatomy have anything to do with how humans evolved to walk on 2 feet? So we'll take a quick look at what this actually looks like in the human body. So I have a right arm in this picture, okay, and it's facing palm up, and so you're seeing the thumb side, which is the outside here. This is the forearm. This is the end of your upper arm, the humerus, okay? And this long bit in the middle, that is the Palmaris longus. As you can see, it starts at the upper arm, crosses one joint, right? Goes all the way down, crosses another joint, and then actually ends up right here in your palm area. By knowing where a muscle starts and where it ends, then you can really begin to imagine how to give this one muscle a workout. And that's by bringing those 2 endpoints together like a string just being pulled back and forth. All right, let's try another exercise together. Step 1, lay your arm on a table or flat surface again and relax your forearm. Great, just like that. Step 2, lift your palm up without moving your forearm and try and make your palm face your upper arm, just like that. Almost like you're holding a little box. Great, now step 3, try step 2 again, but this time, as you're doing it, lay your fingers on your forearm muscles and see if you can feel how Palmaris longus is working. That step 3 is a little bit misleading, I know, but it's because if you feel your forearm working out during that exercise, it's almost really hard to tell which one your Palmaris longus is. It's hard to figure out and isolate how to work it out, and that's kind of my point. In humans and our closest living relatives, the African great apes, chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas, The way we move around the world means the function of the palmaris longus muscle is pretty much taken over by other forearm muscles and hand muscles, making it kind of not a big deal if we did or did not have a palmaris longus. You can imagine if that muscle were more important to humans. It would be extra handy for kicking back our wrists, right, when we're moving, and also for having a very strong grip, okay? Because that muscle primarily works on this joint, and then it sits here, so being able to pull that is very important. Super useful if we constantly needed to have really strong grip in everyday life. So does it matter if we have it? Who needs it anyway? Turns out, in order to find out whether or not that's functionally important, we get to look at the evolutionary tree and see who else has the thing. Turns out many animals have a palmaris longus, but it's far more common in mammals who have to use their forearms and wrists to move and carry their body weight. Final fun fact. Turns out in predators like cats, the palmaris longus is actually a muscle that's used to retract their claws when they're hunting. Just looking at our closest primate relatives, the great apes, the presence of the palmaris longus is also pretty variable. Chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas have also shown a lot of variability in having the palmaris longus muscle. Why? Well, we actually think that it's because they move around on the ground a lot, and instead of using their palms to get around, they primarily use knuckle walking, so their knuckles and a stiffer wrist in order to move around during their day. Compare that to our primate cousins, the orangutans, who live and move through trees. They for sure have a palmaris longus. And it's likely because in order to get around, they have to have a really tight grasp when walking through the trees. Now, what about us humans? Since our evolutionary ancestors at least 6 million years ago gave up other forms of locomotion, moving around, in favor of a sexy two-legged strut, there really haven't been any benefits to having a palmaris longus in people. At the same time, there also haven't been any serious negatives to having them. So it kind of just is, and randomly isn't in humans. That's the weird quirk of evolution, and how that thingy in many people's wrists is somehow tied to our species and how we evolved to strut our stuff on 2 legs. Now go forth and find out who else has it. Who has the palmaris longus and who doesn't? And post your findings, if you can, under the hashtag palmaris longus, hashtag science from home. Bye.